Ever find yourself looking back at your dating history
Hmm.
and realizing there's a clear, maybe slightly unsettling pattern?
Mm-hmm.
Like you've repeatedly swiped right on people who, let's just say, arrived kind of preloaded with red flags.
Oh, definitely. That feeling of, here we go again.
Exactly. Well, you're definitely not alone. And here's the surprising thing, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
It's not always just bad luck or, poor judgment.
Right.
It turns out your brain, which is usually pretty incredible, right?
Absolutely.
Sometimes it acts like a really confused wingman, like terrible taste, zero impulse control,
Huh. That's a good way to put it.
steering you towards partners who are maybe emotionally unavailable or just, well, not quite right for you.
It's a common frustration.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's almost as if the very people who make your heart race are often the exact same ones who make your therapist very, very rich.
There's often a correlation there, unfortunately.
So today, we're doing a deep dive into exactly why that happens.
Yes.
We're going to explore the fascinating, sometimes frustrating science behind these unhealthy relationship patterns and hopefully uncover what you can actually do to maybe rewire your brain for better connections.
Yeah, and it's such a remarkable area precisely because it really highlights how deeply our sort of foundational programming dictates these patterns.
Foundational programming.
Yeah, it goes way beyond just the conscious choices you make in the moment. We're talking about, deeply ingrained neurological stuff, psychological systems playing out.
That's fascinating. So foundational programming. You unpack that a bit. How does our brain's programming specifically get maybe outdated, and what does that actually look like in our dating patterns?
Absolutely. So think of it like this. Your brain has this internal relationship GPS, right?
Okay.
And for many of us, that system got programmed really early on, like childhood early.
Right, way back.
This programming shapes what psychologists call attachment styles. They're essentially blueprints for how we see and act in close relationships.
Blueprints.
And if that early programming wasn't, let's say, optimal,
Yeah.
maybe inconsistent or difficult,
Hmm.
it can lead to these repeated unhelpful patterns later on.
Got it. So these attachment styles, they're kind of like deeply embedded dating personality types. Is that fair?
Pretty much, yeah. You could think of it that way. There are generally four main ones people talk about.
Okay.
First, you got secure attachment. These are folks who typically had consistent, loving caregiving.
The ideal, maybe?
Sort of the gold standard, yeah. As a result, they're generally comfortable with intimacy, they trust easily, they believe they deserve love, often seen as the unicorns of the dating world, as you said.
You're right. Unicorns. Okay, what else?
Then you have anxious attachment. Now, these individuals really crave deep intimacy and closeness, but often they're plagued by these underlying fears of abandonment.
Ah.
So they can become hypervigilant, always looking for signs of rejection. It can lead to what some people describe as a kind of constant push-pull in relationships.
Wanting closeness, but fearing it'll disappear.
Exactly. Desiring it intensely, yet always worried it's about to be withdrawn.
So maybe they need a lot of reassurance, like constantly checking texts or needing affirmations.
That's a really common manifestation, yes. Then there's avoidant attachment.
Okay.
These individuals tend to really prioritize independence, self-sufficiency. They often feel uncomfortable with deep emotional intimacy.
So the opposite of anxious, in a way.
In some ways, yeah. They might pull away when a relationship starts getting too close, valuing their personal space and autonomy above almost everything else. They're kind of emotional minimalists.
Emotional minimalists. I like that.
Mhm.
Okay, number 4.
And finally, we have disorganized attachment. This style usually develops from really inconsistent or sometimes even frightening caregiving experiences in childhood.
Okay, that sounds tough.
It is. As adults, these individuals often experience this profound internal conflict. They deeply desire closeness, but they're simultaneously terrified of it.
Wow. So a real internal battle.
A huge one. This can lead to unpredictable behavior, lots of mixed signals, and just significant challenges in forming stable, secure relationships. So basically, if you're not securely attached, you're essentially operating with a system that, while it feels familiar to you, might be guiding you towards less healthy dynamics.
That paints a really clear, if maybe slightly worrying picture for some of us. So why do we, with these ingrained styles, sometimes become absolute magnets for people who treat relationships like a casual hobby they're not even that into? What's the actual science behind that attraction piece?
Well, one really significant factor is the brain's preference for familiarity. And here's the kicker. even if that familiarity is unhealthy.
Right. Familiarity isn't always good.
Exactly. If your early experiences of what you perceived as love involved inconsistency, maybe drama or conditional affection, your brain kind of registers those patterns as normal for you.
Okay.
So when you encounter a similar dynamic in adulthood, let's say someone who runs hot and cold, your brain might interpret that familiar intensity, that up and down, as intimacy or excitement.
It confuses the known, however chaotic it might be, for comfort, or at least for what's supposed to feel like connection. So that's like our internal system is wired to mistake a flashing fire alarm for like a cozy fireplace. Our brain goes, oh, this pattern, I know this one. This must be love, even when it's just repeating some past emotional roller coaster.
Precisely. The brain seeks what it recognizes. And if those early attachments were unpredictable, well, the unpredictable becomes the subconscious benchmark for connection.
Okay, that makes a scary amount of sense. And I think you mentioned another reason before, something about us just being maybe too kind. Or is that simplifying it?
It's not about being too kind in a bad way necessarily. It's more that certain personality types, unfortunately, are highly attuned to those who are maybe overly accommodating or perhaps lack firm boundaries. You could almost think of it as a kind of emotional opportunism. If you're someone who consistently puts others' needs way before your own, or you're always making excuses for poor behavior.
Which a lot of kind people do.
Right. You can inadvertently become an ideal target for individuals who tend to exploit that generosity.
So if you're just constantly pouring out empathy and understanding, even when it's clearly not coming back at you, you're basically providing this endless resource for someone who thrives on taking point without giving much in return. It's like setting up a 5-star buffet for narcissists. They get all the validation, all the attention, without having to put in much effort themselves.
That's a potent analogy, and often quite accurate. This ties into self-esteem, too, quite significantly.
Right.
If deep down we don't truly believe we deserve consistent, healthy, respectful love, we might unconsciously seek out or more likely tolerate relationships that just reinforce those underlying beliefs.
Oh, yeah.
This brings us to another really fascinating piece. How our actual brain chemistry gets involved in all this.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting, I think. Like, our brains literally get hijacked by chemicals in these situations, creating a kind of addictive cycle.
That's exactly right. When you're in one of these relationships with unpredictable highs and lows, the hot and cold stuff we talked about, your brain releases dopamine.
The feel-good chemical.
The very same neurotransmitter associated with reward and pleasure, yeah? And it's highly addictive. So every single time that inconsistent partner gives you just a morsel of attention, a text back after days of silence, a brief moment of warmth.
Dopamine hit.
Your brain gets a hit of dopamine. It feels like a win.
So it's like, yes, they finally texted back after 3 days, release the happy chemicals.
Yeah.
Even though the overall situation sucks.
Exactly. Psychologists call this intermittent reinforcement.
Okay.
It's the exact same principle that keeps people glued to slot machines or compulsively checking their social media feeds.
The unpredictability is the hook.
Precisely. The unpredictable nature of the reward makes it incredibly potent. Your brain gets accustomed to this erratic cycle, and weirdly, those small, unpredictable wins can start to feel more intense and rewarding than just consistent, steady kindness.
Which sounds less exciting, I guess, to a brain trained on drama.
It can, yeah. Which leads us to trauma bonding. Now, that's a concept that sounds intense, and it is.
Yeah, it sounds heavy.
Right.
It's not just two people who've, been through stuff finding comfort together, is it?
No, it's far more insidious than that. Trauma bonding happens when an abuser, and this can be emotional abuse too, creates a cycle. Abuse followed by periods of kindness or apologies or remorse.
Okay.
This creates this intense emotional roller coaster where the victim becomes bonded to the abuser through that very cycle of harm and then relief.
So the abuser causes the pain, but then also provides the comfort from that pain.
Exactly. Your brain, in its confused state, starts to associate the person who causes the pain with the relief from that pain.
Wow. So it's like someone repeatedly setting tiny fires in your house, but then they're always the one who shows up with the fire extinguisher, looking like a total hero.
That's a perfect analogy, yes.
And your brain, just desperate for safety, goes, wow, what a reliable rescuer. Meanwhile, a stable, healthy person who just wouldn't set fires in the first place.
Might seem boring by comparison.
Yeah. Unexciting. There's no dramatic rescue, no intense highs and lows to get hooked on.
That's it exactly. Your brain has, in a sense, graduated from the school of dramatic romance with a PhD in self-sabotage
Right.
because it's learned to prioritize that intensity over actual stability. And this brings us back around to a really crucial point about self-worth.
Right. And this might feel a little uncomfortable for some listeners, maybe, but it's so vital. The people you attract, and maybe more importantly, the dynamics you tolerate, can often be a direct reflection of how you genuinely feel about yourself deep down. And look, this isn't about blame at all. It's really about empowerment. Recognizing the pattern gives you power over it.
Indeed. If you carry these underlying feelings of low self-worth, it's almost like your internal radio is tuned only to one station. People who don't fully appreciate Me FM.
Yeah. Grim station.
It really is. And you might struggle to even hear or maybe believe that there are other stations playing much better programming. Think about it. Individuals who are prone to manipulative or dismissive behaviors. They don't typically target people with really robust self-esteem and super strong boundaries.
Why bother? Too much work.
Exactly. They gravitate towards those who are maybe naturally kind, giving perhaps people who've been conditioned somewhere along the way to believe that love has to involve suffering or constant effort or fixing someone.
So someone who truly knows their worth and has solid boundaries. They're not even on the manipulator's radar. They're not a good investment for that kind of behavior. They'll just walk away.
Precisely. They represent too much effort for too little return for that kind of person.
Which means if we keep finding ourselves in these same unhealthy patterns, it might really be time to check the batteries on our internal, hang on, I deserve better than this alarm system.
And that right there is the good news in all of this. Because unlike your childhood programming, which you had zero control over, you absolutely have control now. You are an adult, you have choices, you can build boundaries, and you have the fundamental right to demand better treatment. But, and it's a big but, it really begins with cultivating that belief within yourself first.
Yeah. Okay, so here's maybe the empowering plot twist in all this mess, right? The reason you might repeatedly find yourself drawn to these less than ideal connections, it isn't because you're broken or desperate or anything like that.
Not at all.
In fact, it often stems from really positive traits like loyalty or optimism or having this genuine belief in other people's potential.
Absolutely. These are good qualities.
The challenge isn't that you have these wonderful qualities, is that maybe you've been consistently directing them towards individuals who haven't actually earned them. You aren't drawn to toxicity itself. You're drawn to the possibility of love or the potential you see in someone.
That's a key distinction.
You think, oh, if I just love them enough or support them enough or give them enough patience, then they'll become the person I know they can be. But here's the thing. Love isn't a construction project. You are not a rehabilitation center for broken people.
Yeah.
Just imagine the incredible impact if you redirected all that powerful energy, that loyalty, that optimism towards someone who truly deserves it, including, and maybe especially, yourself first.
That's the core shift.
Okay, so what does this all mean for you listening right now? What's the path forward? Let's talk about a few concrete steps maybe to start rewiring that amazing, if currently slightly confused brain of yours.
Okay.
Step one, maybe update your internal GPS. Start paying really close attention to how you actually feel around people. Not just the initial spark, but consistently.
The gut feeling.
Yeah. If someone consistently makes you feel anxious or uncertain or like you're constantly auditioning for their affection, that's probably not chemistry. That might just be chaos. Your nervous system is sending you clear signals. Listen to them.
Trust those signals.
Step two, practice the boring test. This sounds weird, but hear me out. If you meet someone who treats you consistently well, who communicates clearly, who is reliable, and your brain initially whispers, this feels a bit boring. Pause. That often isn't boredom. That's safety. Your nervous system just isn't used to it yet. Give it time to recalibrate and recognize what genuine peace feels like. It might feel unfamiliar at first.
It takes adjustment. Let peace sink in.
Step three, become allergic to potential. Seriously. Start dating people for who they are right now, today, not who they could become in 6 months or a year with your amazing love and effort.
Yes. See what's actually in front of you.
Stop being a talent scout for emotionally unavailable individuals.
Yeah.
Look for the finished product, not the fixer-upper.
Good advice.
Step four, strengthen your no muscle. Practice setting small boundaries first. Doesn't have to be huge. Say no to plans that don't genuinely excite you. Say no to behaviors that make you uncomfortable, even slightly. Say no to anything that makes you feel diminished or small.
Start small. Build confidence.
Exactly. The stronger you get at saying no to the little things, the easier it becomes to say no to the big ones that truly matter for your well-being.
It builds capacity.
And step 5, get comfortable. Really comfortable with your own company. If you're terrified of being single, you're much more likely to settle for just anyone who offers coupling, right?
The fear drives poor choices sometimes.
Yeah. Learn to genuinely enjoy your own presence so profoundly that anyone who enters your life truly has to enhance it, not just fill a void.
That's crucial. Be your own best company first. And remember, every single time you choose to prioritize yourself, your peace, your needs over someone who doesn't genuinely value you, you are actively rewiring your brain's pathways.
Literally changing your brain.
Literally, you are teaching it step by step that you deserve better, that your worth is non-negotiable, and eventually it will start to believe you. The pathways change.
I get that breaking these patterns, especially if they're deeply ingrained, can feel really daunting. It might mean acknowledging that some past connections, maybe even ones that felt really profound at the time, were actually built on pretty unstable ground.
That can be hard to face.
Yeah. But here's an undeniable truth, isn't it? You absolutely cannot build a healthy, sustainable relationship on an unhealthy foundation. It just crumbles eventually.
Foundation to fail, yeah.
So the next time you feel that familiar pull, that maybe addictive spark towards someone who's treating you like you're just an option, not a priority, remember this. Your heart is not a clearance rack.
Love that.
Stop putting yourself on sale for people who wouldn't pay full price anyway. And for anyone listening who's thinking, but what if I do all this and I end up alone? I really want you to consider this thought.
Yeah.
You are already alone when you're with someone who doesn't truly see your worth, who doesn't value you. That's a lonely place to be.
A very lonely place.
Your future self, the one who deserves peace and real connection, is counting on you today to make better, more discerning choices. Your love life, it's not a charity case.
Absolutely not.
And you're not a rehabilitation center for broken people. Their journey is theirs, yours is yours. Choose yours.